doing good for you all today. Let me know in the chat if you have a moment. I will probably not be checking it till closer to the end of our time here today. Oh, everything is off today. And you probably noticed I took a little sick day yesterday. Oh, yes. Let me get a little grounded here. But yeah, every time that I got my headache under control over the last couple of days, it's like when I am about to film a video, 111 on the clock, when I am about to film a video, I always have my headache come back full force, and like that's clearly an indication for me that I have like a half-baked download going on. And so I'm definitely gonna be, focusing on processing that. Welcome to this very interesting Mercury retrograde, everybody. So today I am going to be reading a chapter from the Ringing Cedars of Russia, and this chapter is chapter 25. It is called The Space of Love. So we're going to be reading that today, and I will be posting up some times on Monday where I will be coming through to do some free live readings. So keep an eye out for that if that's something that you're interested in. And we're just going to get right into this chapter here today. So if you would like to grab your coffee or your tea or what have you, now would be an excellent time to go about that. And we're just going to be reading this chapter here today, The Space of Love. After the sale of the first print run of the book about Anastasia, I received a royalty payment. It went to Vydenka, now known as the All-Russian Exhibition Center. For some reason, I always enjoyed being there. This time, I walked past the multitude of snack bars and sashlik buffets, tempting me with their delicious aromas, and fought against my inclination to buy all the delicacies in sight. Even though I had money in my pocket, and a fair amount at that, I decided I would now spend it more wisely. And all at once, another incredible thing happened. It wasn't loud, but unmistakably and distinctively, I heard Anastasia's voice. Buy yourself something to eat, Vladimir. Buy whatever you like. You do not have to scrimp on food anymore. I kept on walking a few steps past the open snack bars, and came the voice. Why are you walking on past? Please have something to eat, Vladimir. Come on now. I'm having hallucinations, I thought. I walked over to a bench alongside a broad pathway where there was hardly anyone else around. I sat down and whispered quietly, bending over so people wouldn't think I was talking to myself. Anastasia, am I really hearing your voice? And I heard the answer, distinct and clear. You are hearing my voice, Vladimir. Hello, Anastasia. Why didn't you talk to me earlier? So many questions have been piling up, questions people have been asking at readers' gatherings, including a lot I can't answer. I have been talking to you. I have been trying all this time to talk with you, but you have not been hearing me. Once you decided to do away with yourself, I even cried out. I was so worried, but to no avail. You did not hear me. I figured out what I needed to do and started singing. It was this song that the two girls picked up and played on their violins at the metro station. They heard it and started playing. As soon as you recognized the same melody you had heard me sing in the taiga, you remembered me. I was so worried at the time, I thought my milk was going to give out. What milk, Anastasia? My milk. The milk for our son. After all, I did bear him, Vladimir. Did bear. Anastasia! Was it hard? How are you doing there all alone in the taiga? How is he? You told me, I remember you saying, it wouldn't be at the right time. Everything is fine. Nature awakened early and is now helping me, and our son is fine. He's a strong lad. He's already smiling. Only his skin is a little dry, just like yours. But that is nothing. It will pass. Everything will be fine. You shall see. It is more difficult for you now than for us. But take one more step. Finish the writing. I know how hard it has been for you, and it will not be so easy in the future either. But keep going. Keep going on your own path. But Anastasia, I wanted to tell her that writing a book is harder than running a business. I wanted to tell her about how things stood with my family and the firm, about all the ups and downs of the past year, and how I no longer have a home and a family, and almost ended up in the loony bin. I wanted to give her a good talking to about those dreams of hers, so she wouldn't aim too high with them, wouldn't keep on tempting people. But then I thought, why upset a nursing mother? Her milk might indeed turn bad. And so I said, don't you worry about trifles, Anastasia. I don't have any particular difficulties at the moment. What's the fuss? I've written a book, and it was easier than drawing up a business plan. When you draw up a business plan, there are a lot of different factors you have to foresee in advance. But here, you simply sit down and describe what's already happened. Just as in the jokes about the chuchi, I sing what I see. And besides, you know something, Anastasia. Those dreams of yours, which I thought were sheer fantasy, they're starting to come true. It's incredible, but they are coming true. Look, the book is finished. You dreamt about it, and now it exists. People are really reading it enthusiastically. The Moscow papers are already writing about it. Readers are writing poetry about you, about nature, about Russia. I found the picture we talked about in the archives of the Trinity Sergiv Monastery. The picture has been preserved. It's entitled The One and Only by a single line. I shall publish it. And can you imagine the bards? You remember telling me about the bards? Yes, I remember, Vladimir. Surprising as it is, this too is starting to come about. I was at one readers' conference where I was approached by this chap with dark blonde hair. He handed me an audio cassette and said, in terse military fashion, "Songs for Anastasia. Please accept." The journalists, readers, and two of the staff at the Moscow Research Center, Alexander Solntsev, Alexander Zakotsky, who had come to the conference. They all listened in silence to the tape. Later, a number of people began making copies of it. They made copies and, at the same time, tried to track down the man who had given it to me. whose looks, apart from his dark blonde hair and short stature, didn't have much to say for themselves. He had appeared, it seems, out of nowhere, and disappeared just as mysteriously. He turned out to be a submarine officer from St. Petersburg, a scientist by the name of Alexander Korotinsky. He later told me how the submarine he was on managed to rise to the surface after an accident, how he had been confidently led by a series of coincidences in connection with this cassette, led to hand it to me. Not only that, but Korotinsky turned out to be a bard as well. And his song, Crown in the Church, contains whole phrases which you said to me. Remember these, for example. Believe not others' words. Once said, they're gone as wind. Many will see the church, but few will enter in. Our life may be a race. From floor to floor we're thrown, but everyone must face the choice he's made his own. Besides, Korotinsky didn't really have a singing voice. He practically recites when he sings, but that very fact goes to prove what you said about the power of the word connected to the soul by invisible threads. Korotinsky, the bard, is a living example. For all the bright joy you have been giving to people, for the purification of souls, I thank you, bard, I thank you, said Anastasia. Just think, another officer, I mused. Gruzia, who first printed the book, he was an officer, and the homeless colonel who drew the picture for it. And then there was a pilot, a regimental commander who's been helping me sell the books. And now the first one to bring me songs turns out to be an officer. What is it about your ray that seems to set officers' hearts afire in particular? Do you shine your ray on them more than others? Many have been touched by my ray, Vladimir, but it sparks aspirations only when there is something there to set aflame. Your dream, Anastasia, is indeed turning more and more into reality. People are grasping hold of it. They understand it. The homeless colonel understood. He was a chance acquaintance. Pity he's gone. I saw him lying there. His face was all smeared with dirt, but he was smiling. Gone, but still smiling. Did you do something there with your ray? What does that mean when someone dies with a smile on their face? That man that was with you, he is now with the bard, treading the invisible pathway. His smile is saving many hearts from bullets more terrible than the leaden ones. Your dream, Anastasia, is entering upon our world, and it really seems as though our world is beginning to change. There are certain people who feel and understand you. They show evidence of new strength coming from somewhere, and that is changing the world. The world is becoming just a little better. But you, Anastasia, there you are, as before, in the taiga, in your glade. I would not be able to live in such conditions, and you would not be able to live in our world. What then is the point of your love? Your love is meaningless, and I still do not understand my relationship to you. But what's the point, since it's so clear we can never be together, never close? We are together, Vladimir. close. Together? Where are you? When people love each other, they strive to be always close to each other, to embrace and caress each other. You're too different. You don't need that. I do need it, just like everyone else. And I am making it happen. But how? Right now, for example, can you not feel the gentle touch of the breeze? Feel its caressing embrace? And the warm touch of the sun's glistening rays on your face? Can you not hear the birds singing so cheerfully and the leaves rustling on the tree you are sitting under? Listen. It is a most unusual rustling. But everything you just mentioned, that's for everyone. In any case, are you responsible for all that? Love dissolved in space, for one, can touch the hearts of many. Why dissolve love in space? So that close to a loved one, there will always be a space of love. This is the essence of love. This is its designated purpose. It's all pretty confusing to me. And your voice. Before, I never heard anything at a distance, but now I do. Why? It is not the voice that you hear at a distance. You need to listen not with your ears, but with your heart. You need to listen. You need to learn how to listen with your heart. Why should I bother learning? You can just talk with me the way you're doing right now, with your voice. I shall not be able to do that indefinitely. But you're doing it right now. After all, I can hear you. Grandfather is helping us at the moment. You go have a talk with him. I need to go feed our son, and there are so many other things to do. I do want to get them all done. So it works with your grandfather, but not with you. Why is that? Because grandfather is somewhere in your vicinity right now, very close to you. Where? And appropriately, the next chapter is called Anastasia's Grandfather. I would love to get to that today, and I will be back soon if I'm able, but if not, I will definitely catch y'all tomorrow for Anastasia's Grandfather. We're getting into some really fun sections of this series, and I'm very excited to share it all with you guys. Just because I have a moment, I'm going to pull a card for this group here today that listened to the space of love. The space of love is a concept very foundational, very important in the Ringing Cedars of Russia series. In fact, the next book, the third book, is called The Space of Love, and all 7 books ultimately are digging into different aspects. Everything seems like so all over the place, about sexuality, about money, about like lifestyle, about food, it seems so disparate. But that's what ties it all together, is the concept of the space of love, and it is the motivating force behind why so much community and co-creation has occurred around the St. Ringing Cedars of Russia. It's very, very fascinating to me that we happened to have this chapter come through today, and right before I came on here, I posted on the community tab, you can go see, about how love is not the same thing as physical closeness. And a lot of times when people have like anxious attachment styles, they will equate closeness with love. Like they would prefer to be in the physical presence of somebody who can't feel their heart, can't understand them, can't like meet any needs besides just like that physical presence. And for me, when I deal with people like that, it makes me feel quite objectified and uncomfortable. But it's something that a lot of people deal with. Like almost half of the insecurely attached people on the earth, if disorganized attachment really is as rare as they say, I feel like that's becoming less and less relevant these days. But that's kind of the energy it was coming through on for me. So maybe there are some people struggling with that in this group here today, on one side or the other of it. But it's very interesting that the whole chapter went into the fact in a very clear, obvious, literal way, like love it's not synonymous with closeness. They can coexist, absolutely, but the energy of love can be present or not present when you are physically close to somebody. And the energy of love can be present or not present when you are at a physical distance for somebody. So whether that's, maybe you're in separation right now from somebody, maybe you feel like you're on some type of twin flame journey, or maybe you feel like you're, in a no contact situation with certain friends or family members or influences in your life, but you still pray for them, you still love them from a distance in the way that you can, and you're still always open to reconnecting in the future if that resonance and that discernment and that self-trust and everything comes together to allow that to happen. So some of you may need to hear that right now. Maybe you have the spirit of a grandfather that is helping you right now, that is assisting you right now in some way. Maybe you would do well to call upon Anastasia's ray or some other prophet or archetype, master of some sort. Page of Swords. Pages give me the energy of innocence, and this is an air card about communication, about talking to people, about sharing things with people, right? She was talking about the air and the wind caressing Vladimir. So when you are at a physical distance from whoever this is, remember that you can give and receive energy from that place, and you may need to protect yourself from dark energies being sent at you from people that you're in separation with right now, depending on where they're at in their lives, in their journey. But you can also send energy and call upon assistance from the energies on your spirit team, from 2444 on the clock, and to the people that you love and care about and want to assist. Sometimes we want to assist somebody, we want to share a message with them, but sometimes people hear what your message is so much clearer when you close your mouth. So maybe focus on speaking less and practicing listening from your heart, as Anastasia was saying right there in that chapter. And we will talk about Anastasia's grandfather at the very next opportunity. Before I get off here, I am going to go real quick through the chat and check in. Ah, man, I do not like patchouli. I mean, in certain circumstances might be helpful, you know what I mean? But I'm gonna block this guy just because his name is Retard Patrol, so I don't feel like I have to particularly don't have to particularly be that lenient there. I got an idea on it. You got a face on your yellow dot. I do indeed. It's kind of funny, I put on the bindi today and I meant to do it like upright, and it's not upside down. It's like somewhere in there. So there's this like energy about like turning, like being in the process of something, being in the thick of something, being in the middle of something. We are in the middle of Mercury retrograde. So if you're struggling with that, it may be useful to connect in with a more innocent form of communication, a more like pre-verbal form of communication, the kind of communication that babies use with their psychic powers, with their electromagnetic connection to your heart. They can communicate with you without words. So maybe try to learn something from the babies. Try to practice that a little bit more. Try to focus more on your energy and reading that, and that's going to increase your discernment, because it's not what it sounds like, it's what it feels like. So Swords energy doesn't have to be always about words, but it is always about communication. Communication. So who are you currently communicating with in this subtler way? And have you been paying attention to it? And how is it impacting you in positive and negative ways? And what kind of energy would you like to send to your loved ones that are in separation or at a distance right now? And what kind of assistance and energy would you like to request from your spirit team, from your guides, from your prophets, from your leaders, from the people who love you from a distance, who have a more established connection to this baby communication, to this heart space communication? Hello, Miles. Welcome in. All right, we will be back very, 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 very soon. But I do have to go do some things, and in fact, my phone is about to die, so I wouldn't even have the option to stay if I wanted to be irresponsible. Thank you guys so much for being here today. I don't have a booper. I'll be right back. Love, light, peace, and personal responsibility. I hope you have a beautiful day, and I will see you next time.